beast of a fish. Look at that for an eye, guys. Lovely, lovely bream. Bag up on bream. Right then guys, welcome to another episode of Hooked. My name's John Murray and I'm an angling addict. If you're new around here, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out and it gets the channel out there and seen by everybody. Today I've come down to Plainville Lake again. I fished this lake around about March this time last year. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link to it up here. It's got bag up on bream on the thumbnail. So obviously I'm hoping to get stuck into a few bream today. We may get a few F1s come along and possibly we'll get some eyed. I've got two lines planned for attack. I'm going to fish out more or less directly in front of me a groundbait line using a little bit of sweet F1 and sonubaits supercrush green. Just going to put a small ball of that in to start with, a little bit of chopped worm and a few maggots, and fish a deck rig, basically a 0.4 gram SF1 silverfish float, but it's going to be shotted bulk down, size 20 hook, and out on the right hand side I'm just going to be flicking pinkies out over that and fishing a drop through rig, and hopefully we'll either catch some bream on that or we'll start finding a few eyed, hopefully draw them into the swim, see if they come up. The weather this week has been pretty awful, to be fair. It's been sort of monsoon stuff. I think the jet streams have been coming in from the west, so it's been raining all week. There's been an awful lot of water around. Andy's been pumping the lake out just to get it down to this level. We've still got a little bit of water over the platforms. Temperatures have been cold, but it's actually reasonably mild now. There wasn't a frost overnight. It was 3 degrees when I got up this morning, so it was pretty chilly, but yeah, it don't feel too bad now, and it's going to be quite a pleasant day. I think there might be a little bit of rain forecast later, but hopefully we won't get too wet. So we'll stop waffling on, we'll get a little bit of bait in, and we'll start getting some fishing done. Stay tuned. Right, today's groundbait mix is just going to be a bit of F1 dark and some supercrush green. We're going to do 3 parts F1 dark, 1 part supercrush green. So I had a bit of a nightmare yesterday. When I went to check my worms, I found that they were all dead. Tackle shops were closed, so I had to go digging in the garden for a few earthworms. I'm just going to put a bit of chopped worm in, a reasonable handful of maggots to start with, and this is going to be our positive bottom line. There's nothing stopping me fishing the drop through rig on either of the lines. They're both the same depth. I'm going to be fishing out at 9.5 metres today, which is about 3/4 of the way across this lake. Once I move over to my left a little bit, it does start to shallow up, so I'm going to keep this one directly in front of me, which is going to be, as I say, the main drop through rig. Keep that fairly tight, just put that worm in loose, and then I'm going to pop a ball of groundbait on top of that with those maggots. So just a small orange sized ball that's going to go in to start with. No extra feed in there, no micro pellets this time. Last time I was here I did put a few micros in. But the lake's been fishing very hard, I'm told. So I need to be relatively cautious whilst taking a reasonably positive approach. I'm just going to keep this on my elbow, figure out where I might want to be if I need to sit this in the pole rest. Actually, no, I'm just going to tip this in because I might need to keep this pole on the rest today. So it's very windy at the moment, but that's it. Got that in directly in line. So other than the wormhole, we've got some lovely pinkies, some fluoros and some whites, and pretty much the same red and white maggots. So the bulk rig's really simple. It's a 0.4 gram SF1 float, and that's just on a strung out bulk. So we've got a couple of number 10s, just trimming that off. and 4 number 8s strung out bulk there. I've got a 4.5 inch hook length down to a size 20 silverfish barbless match hook. And just to keep it stable, I've got a couple of number 10 back shot above the float. The drop through rig is the same pattern of float, again an SF1 but in a 0.3 gram version, and that's actually shotted with 7 number 10 stots from about, well, around about 1.5 foot below the float, and then the spread roughly about every 4 to 5 inches below that, and again down to exactly the same pattern hook. Okay, so I'm just going to start out on single pinky and start loose feeding this line. So I'm just going to fish off to my right hand side here and keep the pole in my hand for this. So I'm just trying to find the range with the catapult, especially since this wind got up, which is a little less than ideal, but it is quite a bright day today, so that may actually serve in our favour if I can keep the bait reasonably tightly grouped. We're just going to feed every few minutes or so. I'm going to put a little bit in to start with just to kick it off. We'll just try and build this swim slowly, then I'll just keep having a look on the ground bait line in about 15 minutes, fish this for 10-15 minutes, and then we'll have a look on the ground bait line, see if anything's settled there, and just keep alternating between the two swims. Probably only about 3.5 foot, maybe 4 foot deep maximum down this track. I'd say 3.5. Last year when I fished it, it had a little bit more water in because the level was up, so it was probably about 4 foot deep. So no bites just yet, but I've only been fishing sort of 10 minutes. That's a bite. So a fish took that just as I laid the rig back in, but I missed it even though I was on top of it, so I think maybe we are tempting a few in now, and potentially catching on the drop is going to be the way to go. But we've yet to look on the ground bait line. Normally you expect sort of bream and F1s to be feeding on the bottom at this time of year, so it may take a little bit of time for these to come on, but we are fishing down to the bottom. It's not that deep, so we can shallow up if needs be. We've got our first fish. Doesn't feel anything enormous. Small skimmer. Tiny skimmer on the Pinkie. So that's a good start on the Pinkie. There's a bite. Yeah, fish. Feels a better fish, this one. So elastic today, I've got the Matrix green slicking. It's an 8 to 10 because there are some lumps in here. And that's probably pulling a good 5 foot or so of elastic out this fish. Nice and soft on the strike. It's the first time I've used this, but I liked how that felt. If this was a decent bream, it's the perfect start. Oh yeah, it's a fantastic slab. Just what we've come for. What a fish that is. Oh no, it's big-eyed, great big-eyed. Oh, just missed him. No, I got him. There's a clonking hide. Andy said to me some of these might turn up. And oh my word, have they. What an absolute beast of a fish. Look at that for an hide, guys. Tiny size 20 hook, just in his lip there. Wow. That is something special. I'm just going to try and hold him up for you. What a fantastic fish that is. I'm going to pop him in the net before he gets a bit lively, but happy days. Glad I put that green elastic in. Ooh, shipping out there. I mean, these wind gusts are absolutely crazy at times. It's just the tail end of this jet stream that's been coming through. I'm just going to hold off feeding for now because the bait will be everywhere. I'm going to keep it reasonably tight. That's a bite. Oh, just missed that one. Had a bite there. He's developing just steady away, so we'll just let him go fully before we hit into these. So it looks like we've got a few fish tempted in already just by loose feeding in a few pinkies. Be interested to see what's sat on the groundbait line. Difficult holding presentation at the moment, which is why the more stable rig may help me, just with the back shots on. Got no back shots on this drop through rig because I just intend to keep dropping it through the water, but the wind's just a little bit wild at this moment in time. There we go, dropped it through. That was a fish on the drop, laid back in, only a small one. Little skimmer. Elastic, good foot of that elastic out. So I mean, this 8 to 10 is, it's quite soft, even for these tiny skimmers. The fish is probably no more than, you know, 4 or 5 ounces. Just cutting back on the feed a bit for the time being. Just lay the rig through. Don't want to overfill these fish. They're not absolutely on fire. You've got to wait a little while for a bite. But when you do get one, there's some good fish out there. That's a half dink on the float there. Just holding that float down. I mean, drop that rig back through. Just about outsmarted that fish. But it dropped it. There's a bite. Oh, just missed that again. Very, very delicate bites. Came just as the bait settled down towards the bottom. So they are watching it down. I'm just holding off putting extra feed in right now. That's it. Oh, went again and we've missed it again. So just by cutting the feed back, we've got 2 bites pretty instantaneously, just dropping the rig through there. So I'm just going to drop back through again, see if we can hook into one of these. Might just be small skimmers, these. Okay, we'll have one more lay in, then I'm going to put a pouch of bait on this if I don't get a fish, and have a look on the ground bait line. I'm only fishing with an 0.8 bottom, so it's pretty delicate stuff, but yeah, it's fairly strong as the power line. Right, as we fed chopped worm in on this ground bait line and put a few maggots on it, I'm going to try the big red maggot to start. So I've got a longer lash on this deep rig, just because I've got it back shotted and I want to hold it really stable. The other one, because we're lifting and dropping, it's not so important. This one I'm just trying to keep it tight over a ground baited area. Not looking to feed any more bait on this, just catch over what we put in initially and gauge how it responds. So far no immediate bite though, so nothing very quickly on the maggot, so we'll try a little worm. Just a 1-inch section. Okay, well that ground bait line doesn't seem to be producing anything right now. So we might have got a bite on that fairly instantly. So we'll go back on the light rig. I think what I'll do though, I'll just try this light rig over the top of that ground bait line. Pop a Pinkie on, see if anything's there willing to have a go, but if not, we'll drop back on our true Pinkie line. looked like a dink on the float then. Yeah, that was a bite. There we go. Fish over the ground bait, but on the Pinkie. Let's come off, it was only a small one. So there's fish there, but it seems Pinkie is the way forward today. Right, I'm going to drop back on the Pinkie line, true. Not put any feed in, I'm just going to see if I can snare a fish straight out of this swim after we pouched in previously. No immediate response. Okay, well, we'll start feeding in again. Oh, that was a bite. Again, missed it. They are very, very fickle at the moment. Hard to trick. There's a bite, we've got one. Laid back in and fish on. Not a big fish, but welcome nonetheless. With a little skimmer. Swing him. Not sure where these bigger bream are right now. Oh, that's another bite straight away. We've got another fish on. Just feeding in there. It's come off. This elastic is maybe just a little bit too harsh for these small skimmers. But when you've got great big slabs, you know, 4 or 5 pound in here, and these big eyed, you need something a little bit stronger on. Oh, laid that in. That fish took it straight away on the drop. So there's definitely a few coming over the Pinkie now. Feels a slightly better, well, I'll say it's a skimmer. I'm not sure right now. Could be an hide. Just go steady with it. It's not as big as the first one, but it doesn't look a bad fish. Yeah, nice little skimmer. Can't remember catching so many small skimmers in here. As long as they start getting bigger, find his dad. I'm tempted to start feeding Pinkie on the line straight in front of me. I don't really want to be feeding 2 lines with a catapult. So what I might do is put another ball of groundbait on that. But just feed Pinkie in with it and cup it in. See if we can get a few to settle on the deck there. And drop this rig back over the groundbait line. That was a bite pretty much instantly there, so there's definitely fish set over this groundbait. Whether they just don't want the big maggot. It was a delicate bite. Didn't fully take that. Definitely something mouthing that bait. I may just trim this float off a little bit more because it's so windy. I don't want it dotted down too far, but there we go. Took it. Yeah, small fish on the Pinkie over the groundbait. Wind's blowing the pole, trying to get it back on the roller. With a little skimmer. I'm just going to pop a bit more groundbait on this line in front of me. At the end of the day, it is a bit of a throwaway. Can keep fishing the Pinkie off to the right, but I think if we cup some more ground bait. I'm going to put 2 balls on it and then cup a few pinkies over the top. See if we can cement it as a decent bottom fish, bottom line. I'm going to give it a fairly good helping of pinkies and maggots. Just sprinkle them around that area. We can leave that a bit longer. See if it tempts a few big boys in. Right, I'm going to try a fluoro on the hook. That was a bite instantly. Dropped in on the pinky there. Try the fluoro again. Straight away that went. Some quick bites coming now. Just keeping those pinkies going in. Around about a dozen at a time. Keep getting more bites, I'll up it. If they back off a bit, we'll just cut back on the feed. Wait while you get indications again. I'll lay back in now, those pinkies will be on the way down. Oh, took a little while to develop that bite. And then when it came, it was a good one, but again, just couldn't hit it. Just trying to get these fish feeding confidently. There you go though, laid back in and fish on. Skimmers. It can be a nightmare at times. But a good winter sport. Oh yes, lovely bite. They're switching on. Right, I'm just going to try the bulk rig with Pinkie. Obviously the hook length's the same, so presentation wise we're no different. Just a nice stable rig, hard on the deck. See if anything's come over that ground bait. Just put my gloves on because that wind was biting cold. But it's dropped down a bit now. So let's see if anything's come and sat over that feed that we've put in. Worm used to work well in here, but the last couple of times I've been, I've not really done very good on it, so it might not be the bait now. That's a bite straight away on the Pinkie on this rig. Just dipped the float ever so slightly. Yeah, it's gone. Fast bite again though. I think we'll hang on to the pole while the wind's dropped. Getting back up now. That's gone. Oh yes, decent fish. Took off, struck into that and it felt a good fish straight away, and then it must have swum towards me. It's going left and right this, so it's having a bit of a charge. Plodding. This elastic's nice, it's doing a nice job. Oh, it feels heavy fish this. Could be a slab. We might have just tempted him in. Definitely feels more bream like than the hide did before. Staying low. tiny little hook on here. He's trying to get under my own bank. Just steer him out a little bit. Took a bit of elastic. That's what I mean. If you fish the light elastics in here, oh, it's around my net as well. Fish the light elastics in here and you hook into these, you're in bother. Feels a unit this, we're only on a 0.8 bottom, size 20 hook. And it is, it's a lovely, lovely bream. Absolute crackerjack, that's what we've come for. I think it might actually be a hybrid between maybe a bream and an hide, I'm not sure. It's fat, really, really fat fish. Look at the belly on that. Oh, girth of that fish is incredible. And actually, it's foul hooked in the peck. So how I quite landed that as easily as that, I don't know. But there we go, guys. Bag up on bream. Well, that was definitely worth the switch over to that groundbait line, so we'll have another drop in there. Just keep the Pinkie on the hook. Not positive rig. Tempting that fish. Wind's getting back up. So I'm keeping my hood up, but just goes to show what single Pinkie can do. Just going the rest this time because the wind's gusting a little bit. There's another bite. Boy, it went under and then it just sort of held just below the surface as I struck into it. Missed it, but there's definitely fish over this line now. Is it another unit? I'll keep a little bit of bait going in on the pure Pinkie line as well. I'll get hold of the pole, take it out of the rest. Yeah, something just mouthing this. You just never know what they're going to be. Could be a skimmer, could be a great big hide, could be a carp, could be an F1, could be a massive bream. Or a hybrid, who knows. The 0.4 gram rig's about right. It's sitting lovely and stable out there, especially with a couple of back shots on. The only time it moves is if the pole gets blown out of the way. Go in. Something just mouthing it again. Half tempted to strike, but I think I'd rather just wait until you get a proper positive indication. Could just be liners. End up with a foul look fish again. That is just about gone, that. There's definitely fish down there. Gone. Oh! Bumped it. Just didn't seem to connect properly with that. Maggot looks good on the hook. It's not wrapped up or anything. I'll try again. So I've just added another number 10 trim shot onto the float. So probably got about 1 mil of tip showing now. I'm just getting a few dropped bites. So I'm just sensitising that rig a bit. If I need to see a bit more float tip, I'll put a little bit of bristle grease on it. Whoa, that looked like a bite. And this is the problem with going so dotted down when the wind's on. These fish are biting fickle. Okay, I'm unable to attempt a bite on the positive rig right now, so I'm going to go back on the drop through rig. See if anything comes and sits back over that ground bait line. I think there's definitely fish there, they're just a little bit fickle how they're biting at the moment, so maybe a little bit, that bait just needs to dissipate a bit and we might start catching on it. See if anything's waiting on the Pinkie line. Yeah, fish straight away. Just getting blown out of position there, but luckily the bite just developed in time and I was able to strike it as the pole blew. So another little skimmer. Oh, dropped in. And that fish was taking it. Oh my goodness, the wind is just blowing this all over the place. We've got a fish on battling. Trying to bring him back up here. The wind's fighting me. Just laid that rig back in and that fish took it on the drop again. The little drop through rig working lovely. Feels a better fish. Yeah, better skimmer. Lovely. Ooh. Fish on. That float started well down and didn't even move. It's the bottom rig. It's a decent fish as well. Whether we've foul looked it, I'm not entirely sure. No, it's in the mouth. So it goes to show just how little they're moving, but the fit. Definitely fit. Hooks out in the net. Again, that looks a little bit like a bream-eyed hybrid. It's quite a slim fish. Oh, that was a good bite. That was a good bite on the positive rig. Went pretty quickly, that. There's definitely a few fish sat on that line now. Slab. Tell you what, they've got some weight on them, these. Another tremendous bream. Fantastic. There we go. Yeah, another fish. Took a while. A couple of minutes that was in. They seem to be taking off the deck now. Come over that ground bait. An F1. This little F1. I'm not going to put any more bait on this line right now. I'm just going to fish it out for the time being. Keep feeding the Pinkie line. Gone a little bit slow on that ground bait line. Maybe the fact that we had 3 good fish off it. So we'll go back on the drop through rig. Fish the Pinkie. Pinkie taking all these fish today. Fish on. Oh yeah, great bite. Small car. I think it's a cruising. Maybe an F1. Yeah, F1 I think. Stockfish I think. And they put a load of new ones in. Yes! Let's drop back on the ground bait line with the light rig. This fish is swimming at me. A little F1 by the looks of things. Another little stockfish. Fish was on. With the light rig now working over the ground bait line. Can't always present it out here due to the wind. I'm trying to keep it still. But that's another bite and another fish. The F1 show now. Yeah, another one. I don't know whether it's the lighter rig making the difference. I may just switch back onto the bolt rig. The wind is so bad at times that you can't present the bait very well with this rig. It's on a shorter lash. It's working at the moment. These little delicate F1s. Yeah, I'm just going to switch out to the bulk rig. It's the rig that I designed to fish on this line. There we go. The bulk rig working well there. Stability, and we've got a good fish out. come off, I don't believe it. It was a decent fish. Looks like it was foul hooked. We've got a scale on the hook. Boom. Another great big slab. They definitely like that ground bait. Just in the lip. Tiny little pinky. What a fish. She's gone. Messed about with it for a while there. Well, I'm reluctant to put any more top up feed in. Got a few fish sat there, you've got to wait for them a little bit. And then they come. Yeah, beauties, some of these. I may just sprinkle a few extra pinkies on. Oh my goodness, this has woke up. He's made a beeline for the inside. Felt like a bream to start with, now it feels like a carp. Yeah, a little F1 I think. Yep. Such delicate little biters. So I'm just going to cup a few more pinkies on the line. If I can control it. Go back on the drop through rig to my right hand side on the loose fed line, see if there's anything back on there just while we let those few pinkies settle. Oh yeah, straight into a fish on the drop. Another skimmer off that line. Interesting. It's gone again. Another one on the drop through rig. So this loose fed line seems to be producing more skimmers than anything else. Swing that one. Yeah, that's a better fish. Oh yeah, that's going. I'm not sure what this is, but it's definitely pulling a bit. Try and move him this way. Feels a lump. Big boils all over the surface. That's another hide. It might be one of those hybrid ones actually. It's definitely fought a bit. Yeah, and I don't think that's a true bream and it's not a true hide. I think that's a cross. Fish recognition used to be so easy. So those last 3 or 4 fish I've caught without putting any extra bait in. Another big slab on the deck rig. So this positive rig is really sorting out the better fish over that groundbait line, and topping up with those pinkies hasn't done us any harm. What a unit! Another massive bream. Does it get any better than that, guys? If you want to catch skimmers in here, loose feed. If you want to catch big bream, get some groundbait in. Hook bait's the same, hook length's the same, hook's the same. Only real difference is this rig's slightly heavier. It's presenting the bait that little bit more stable with a strung out bulk. And at this time of year, it's the deadly method to get stuck into some of these big fish. And that's another one. That is another. Might be an F1 this. Felt a good fish to start with. Just a small one, I think. Yeah. That's interesting. I thought I'd try the bulk rig on the Pinkie line, and all we've ended up with is another skimmer. So I think the groundbait definitely brings in the bigger fish. So with that in mind, I'm going to top the main line of attack up now with another ball, a few more pinkies on it, and we'll fish it out. So I had a little rain shower. That seems to have passed. The wind's died down a little bit. I'm hoping that's the end of it. It's definitely been a difficult day trying to control the pole in the wind, but I think it does help for a few bites. It's just trying to get that presentation right. Not always easy hanging onto the pole when it's gusting as hard as it has been today. Let's see what kind of reaction this swim has now to that top up. Whether it slows it down or whether we just pull some big fish straight back in. There we go. Little F1. So the peg slowed off for about 15 minutes, but hopefully now the reward will be worth the wait. Yes! The float blipped a couple of times there. This feels a... Oh. Well, felt a good fish. I think it was foul hooked. That ground bait definitely draws them in. There we go. Good fish. Hopefully this one's not foul hooked. Went tonking off to the right. Just let the elastic do the work. Ooh. They've got some battle, these fish. You can't believe how delicately they bite. It's definitely worth putting the top up in. I've had a bit of a wait. Foul looking that last one. Didn't help. Definitely having a go, this fish. Can't get it up. Got some power. Tiny hook and a 0.8 bottom on this. Got a lot of pressure on this fish. Trying to get under my own bank. Just going steady with it because I don't want to put too much more pressure on because it's such a small hook and fine hook length. Probably right on the limit of it. Come on, baby. Yeah, it's got me wondering what it is now. I think it's a carp. Maybe a foul hooked one. Ah! Well, I said I had it maxed out. It's gone. I did get a glimpse of it. I think it was an F1. I think it was foul hooked. He has smashed me. I knew I was right on the limit of that hook length there. Well, that's a bit of a disaster. So, fresh hook on. Finally, another little stocky. Right guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give me a thumbs up, share the video if you can, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm going to fish out for a little bit longer yet, so we'll get the net out shortly and show you what we've had. But I hope, you know, that you can take some tips from this. I mean, it's not been easy fishing by any stretch of the imagination. You know, it's cold weather, there's been a lot of rain in it, and I know it's been fishing hard, and a lot of you guys have probably struggled down here, so hopefully a few of these tips will help you put a few more fish on the bank in future. Yes. Hope this is a bream and properly hooked this time. Nope, it's another carp. Only just hooked, he's out in the net. But fantastic spot from these little F1s. Ooh, another fish running. Ah. I don't know whether these are big carp or whether we're just foul looking them. I think we're foul looking F1s. I think they're all over the swim. That's just tore off to the right. Hook's pulled again. But having to fish these tiny little hooks to get the bites. You know, the barbless. It happens. You know, I'm not sure how you prevent that, to be honest. Softer elastic might keep them on, but you know, they give you such a run around. I mean, we saw with that one that I lost down at the net here, you know, 8 to 10 elastic matrix slick. I had a lot of it on the puller, and you know, the pressure, I just couldn't put any more on really, and eventually we ended up getting snapped. C'est la vie. Yes, please don't come off this time. Just thinking I wasn't going to get a bite then. Sat up and it went under. Isn't that typical? Again, good fish running. But hasn't tore off to the side, so the way it's going, I think it is an F1. Oh, I think it could be an hide. It's a good fish. Oh heck, he's under my own bank here. I think I'm going to have to get a bit on the puller. A lot of snags down the inside here. I think maybe a better F1 actually. And again, it could be foul hooked. Swimming around all over the place. No, I've got him in the lip. Take some landing. Chunky little fish. Right guys, I think I'm going to make this the last put of the day. Unless I get a bream, and then I'll have one more. Thought adding a bit more ground bait in would have brought us another bream or two. It seems like all we've done is attract a few more F1s in. So they do come in waves. You tend to get the F1s and then the bream will settle. But we're getting down to the back end of the day now. I mean, there is a couple of hours fishing left, to be honest, but I'm ready for some dinner. There we go. Ooh, they do wake up. One final fish. I think it's another F1 to finish. Oh, Andy will be happy. Baby barbel, get in there. Andy, I finally got one, mate. It's only a babby, but happy days. Isn't that just the... Oh, come here. Isn't that just the cutest little thing? Beautiful little barbel, perfection in miniature. I'm going to pop him straight back because I don't think they should be in the net. And right on cue it started raining again, so I'm going to call it a day, guys. I do hope you've enjoyed this. We'll get the fish out and see what we've had. That's a cracking day's fishing there. Absolute bag full of fish. There's got to be well over 30 pound. Some of those bream are just enormous. And look at that hide. That hide. That is just an absolute beast. A complete... a complete and utter unit, that. Let's get him back. This bream are fighting fit. Bag full of skimmers. I'm going to let them go. Swim them down the net. There we go, guys. So it's been a tough day in the wind and the rain. Cool weather. But yeah, once again, Plainville, 30 or 40 pound in there, quite easy. Some fantastic bream, big hide, loads of skimmers, plenty of F1s. I mean, it's just brilliant fishing for this time of year. Right guys, thanks for watching, take care, and until the next one, tight lines.